There is more to me, Queen Eliara of Elfgard, than my elven magic. Just as there's more to Geico than saving you money, Geico also gives you 24/7 access to licensed agents online, on the phone, or on the Geico app. And while I am a mighty elf queen, I am also a mighty big fan of barbecue potato chips. Minions! More smoky mesquite.
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
We are the New York Knicks. I'm back in the New York groove. Well, it's the Knicks. New York. We are the New York Knicks. New York. For this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks is taking no shorts, it's like winter. New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is
K-N-I-C-K. Everybody say go, New York, go, New York, go!
Hey everybody, it's the New York Knicks podcast, episode 358. We are going to have a record-breaking second positive episode in a row.
I don't know about you being positive. I was positive too after winning those two. After beating the Hornets the other night, I was positive. But now season's over. We lost the game. It's over. I mean, 8-7. I was ready to have a parade down goddamn Broadway in New York City. Now 8-8. Season's over. Carmelo Anthony went from being a hero in the first game against the Hornets. Now he can barely play. Let's trade him for the garbage he is.
This is parody before you hit send on those negative reviews.
I'm really excited. This team has gotten me really excited. I wish they had just beaten the Hornets last night, and then I could have the happiest show ever. And it would be really ridiculous how happy I'd be about a 9-7 team. But I'm still pretty excited about the 8-8 team because I feel like this team has a lot of potential. What do you think, Jay?
This is probably the most excited I've been about a 500 team in my entire life.
Well, let's compare this to, first of all, what is weird is, what episode are we on?
358.
Do you know, there haven't been that many episodes we've done where the team has been over 500.
This is the, I think, second time this millennium.
No, they were over 500 in that first year they made the playoffs with Melo, weren't they? They obviously the 54-win season they were over 500, and but weren't they over 500 in the year before when they made the playoffs?
I'm gonna do some research. I'll get back to you.
I'll tell you another time they were over 500. They were 2-1 in the year they won 17 games.
Right.
That I know for sure. But there aren't that many times the Knicks have been over 500, and I agree. This is as excited as I could be about an above 500. They were 36-30 the year before, and the year before that they were 42-40. So they were over 500, just not by a lot, and you weren't as excited about those teams.
First time over 500 through the first 16 games of a season for the second time this millennium.
Okay, that's pathetic. The Knicks have a lot of things you're like, did you know how mediocre we have been? Kind of stats.
Right.
Well, last year, so the Knicks were 23-23. Was it before Fisher started losing games and lost his job?
Around that, yeah.
Around that. So at 500 there, were you excited at all about that team? And why are you more excited about this team?
I was excited about the team. I mean, that was the best team we had in about 14 years. But
not the 54 win. I'm just saying last year when they were 23-23.
Oh, last year. I wasn't as excited as this team because we didn't have as many young guys. I felt like we were at our ceiling with that team last year.
I felt they were playing above their heads a bit to get to, they had
I felt like they were overachieving to get to 500. Whereas this team, you're like, okay, they're playing the way they should. Yeah,
that's the season. Early in the season, when the first start of the season, they started. They were 3-7, and we were all like, God damn it, they might as well be tanking. But now they're getting some chemistry, playing better, and you get the sense that Porzingis is looking really good. Melo's playing better. He's shooting at the highest he's shot in a while. His true shooting percentage. You get the sense that the European guys on the bench are looking actually like a solid bench pieces. There's a lot to like about this team where you think maybe we're not winning 60 games, or not maybe we're not winning 60 games, but you can see this team like winning say 45 games and having a lot to build on for the future.
Right.
Um.
Also, Strive has been sending us a lot of good stuff
On Twitter.
through Twitter. Yes, NY Knicks podcast on Twitter. Over the last 10 games, Porzingis has done better than Melo in every single category: points, rebounds, 3-pointers, blocks, steals, shooting percentage, PER, and real plus minus.
Yeah, and that's not to knock Melo at all.
No, not at all.
That's just to say Porzingis is playing really well. Even like last night against the Hornets, the whole team shit the bed. But Porzingis, if you just look at his stats, on 16 shots he had 25 points versus Melo had 25 shots and had 18 points. And not even knocking Melo saying it's Porzingis. We're not saying it's Porzingis' team right now. We're just saying he seems to be able to get it done. We're all very happy with his results.
Exactly.
So where we are right now, actually, with the first question I had, and this relates to Porzingis, I had some questions for you. Do you think Porzingis is all-star bound this season?
I do. He got a crazy amount of all-star votes last year, and he's way better this year. I think he's got a big international following, and I think he's just going to get enough votes through that if you don't even consider the fact that he's putting up all-star numbers.
Yeah, I guess like the fact that he's being a star in New York or a rising star in New York plus his international following, he probably will he might start in the All-Star game. But if he doesn't start, do you think the coaches are going to put him in?
I think there's a really good chance. I mean, I'm having trouble thinking of many other forward centers that should be above him.
I mean, and not even just forget who should be above him. If you look at his stats, like he's averaging almost 21 a game. His blocks are a little down this year, but he's still averaging about 1.3 blocks. He got 7 rebounds. The crazy stuff, though, is he's shooting just under 50% and 40% from 3, which, if he keeps those numbers up, they're a pretty amazing season for the Knicks.
Yeah, what's his free throws at?
His free throws at just under 79%.
Okay, so he's not going to get a 50-40-90 season, but he could have a 50-40.
It's pretty. I mean, I will be fine if he doesn't, but it's a pretty good start to the season, and he's coming with some big plays. I've been very impressed with him. I think he's got a pretty good shot at making the All-Star team. So the second thing people have been talking about is this now Porzingis' team? Has the torch been passed? Do you think those people need to get a life? Like, why do you even need to talk about this?
That seems like it's just starting unnecessary drama.
The New York media loves to start unnecessary drama for no good reason.
It's obviously Melo's team.
It's like, oh, should we write today about it being Porzingis' team or Melo's team? Should we write about passing torch, or should we write about Phil's probably going to leave the Knicks any day now?
It's almost like, how should we make Melo cranky today?
I mean, you know what? How about this? How about when Porzingis plays well, we're excited. When Melo plays well, excited. And how about the team? You know who the team is? The Knicks. And forget it's no one's team. Let everyone play well,
right?
Or have everyone carry each other. The difference between Melo and Porzingis more than anything, though, is Melo. Obviously, you have to get the ball to both of them, but I feel like Porzingis, you need to kind of work the offense a little more through him to get him going. Melo will get going even if you don't do that.
Yeah,
he'll find his shots, and so you have to. I think you have to kind of, especially at where Porzingis is in his career, you have to kind of like try to get him more shots. It'll work out better for us if we kind of force him into the offense.
Yeah.
So where we are in the games this week, the Knicks beat Portland, which and then they beat the Hornets, and then they lost to the second game to the Hornets. Let's talk briefly about each game. The first game against the Portland, I think I talked to you briefly before the game and said that Lillard and McCollum would probably each go off for 40. Are you shocked that they beat Portland?
Not shocked, but I was pleasantly surprised. I think you picked them to win, and I picked them to not win.
Yeah, I think I actually picked them to win, but I kind of just figured Lillard and because the Knicks have had a lot of problems stopping Lillard, especially, and McCollum. They're both two fast guards that can score in bunches, basically like the Knicks' kryptonite the last couple of years.
Right.
Knicks played pretty well. Porzingis had a great night. Melo did not have a great night, but Porzingis had a huge night. And their bench pieces look great. Kuz and Hernan Gomez, they've looked great all. I've been very surprised by how good they've been.
Yeah, Hernan Gomez especially. I read that I think in 18 minutes a game, he's second among all rookies in rebounding and like eighth in blocks.
Oh, that's pretty darn. I'm just looking at his stats because I kind of had to just take a quick look and like he's shooting 60% from the field. I want to just double check that because he seems. You get him the ball, his hands are really good, and he seems to basically, if you get him the ball near the basket, he seems to always put it in. I've been very impressed with his his offensive skills, and he seems like a good passer too.
Yeah, this will lead to something else I want to talk about in a little bit.
Does it rhyme with Lokim Moa?
Yeah. So the Knicks
or Lyle O'Lynn?
You know what? O'Quinn is outplaying Noah at this point.
I have to say with Hernan Gomez though, his defense is lacking, but it's not terrible. And based on how the other Knicks centers are doing, it's not like anyone's playing that much better.
We might be talking about this Noah move as Phil's worst move of his entire career. Like the
exact opposite of the Porzingis draft pick. Amazing, the exact opposite.
Yeah, this is Phil Jackson's Bargnani.
You see, the thing with Noah is, and so I was listening to some other Knicks. It was a podcast, or maybe it was just the ESPN radio. I forget, but they've been talking about a couple of places I've heard people talk about the Noah contract, and they said, it's too early to call it a complete disaster, but I would say
it's getting close though.
On the 1 to 10 for as far as being worried. I'm at a 10 or a 9 for being worried about this contract right now. But one show they were like, oh, you know what? It doesn't matter. The regular season with Noah, he can play, and it matters what he does during the playoffs, which is the most absurd thing I've ever heard.
That seems like complete. Oh, he's shit for 82 games, but if you make the playoffs.
It's not like he signed with Golden State where they're going to the playoffs no matter what, and we just need you for the playoffs. We need you for the regular season.
Yeah, this could be the difference between making and not making the playoffs.
But second, the other thing I've been hearing is he can every couple nights he'll give you a good game. You can count on every fourth night or fifth night you'll get a good game from him. Maybe the third or fourth year of the contract won't be so good, but right now you can count on every fourth or fifth night. Every fourth or fifth night? Are you kidding me for $72 million?
That's actually quite terrible for your starting center.
That is unbelievable. Not that Robin Lopez was all that great, but hands down, Robin Lopez would be playing more minutes now and contributing more up to this point.
Well, and playing more games. I feel like Noah's out every few games, too.
I mean, in his defense, so far, he just got, the flu. That's what it seems like.
Yeah, but it's always
he missed
something.
A couple games.
That's
bad luck.
There just seems to be a lot of bad luck going around.
He had bad luck. He missed some games in preseason. He hasn't missed anything. He hasn't missed anything based on an injury so far in the regular season, right?
But he's missed 5 games already, right?
He's got a really bad cough. Leave him alone.
I mean, I don't care why he's missing games. He's missing games. That's the point.
I don't know. He's also not really appearing in the games he plays.
That too.
How many good games has he played? He played well against Drummond, right, in Detroit?
Yeah.
But that was last week. And the Knicks have played 3 games this week.
Right.
And 2 of those games he was back for, and he barely played. He barely played the 2 games against Charlotte.
He played 18 minutes in the first game against Charlotte, had a whopping 6 and 8 with a plus-minus of -9.
Though I have to say his performance in the second game against Charlotte was really helpful.
He played 12 minutes.
He had as many points as I had in the game.
Yes, he had 0 and 3. He was a -12. I believe almost all that was in the Knicks were down 21 in the first quarter. Is that right?
Do you want to get to that game? Let's just talk quickly about the second game, and then we get to this game. Okay. The second game. What do you want? So the second game, the Knicks beat the Hornets in a nail biter. Very exciting nail biter, right?
Yeah.
Are you? Yeah. Wasn't that the Knicks? Did you not think there was an exciting game? They went to overtime and they beat them.
No. I did. I was trying to figure out when to pepper in the listener comments. We have a chat room.
Oh God. Can you not talk to the listeners in the
I'm
chat
not.
room?
I'm not talking to the listeners. I didn't type back.
If you write them back, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to come into. You're in Queens right now. I can get in the car and drive to Queens, be there in about half an hour, and murder you, and be back by the time I need to get to sleep tonight.
Wow. Well, then this episode will never get uploaded. Knicks fan since Mello says, "How great is it seeing other teams' guards scoring below their scoring average against us?"
That is great.
We haven't seen that in 6-7 years.
Yeah. The second Charlotte game. How about you figure out where to pep in your own comments?
Wow.
The second.
Oh my God! I'm gonna mute your mic. Being all nasty.
I just hate when you're like sitting there like, oh, Jay, you haven't talked in a while. I'm reading this paragraph this guy wrote.
He wrote, "Damn, Mark, you hating."
Oh God. The first Charlotte game, Melo had an awesome game. He's 35 points, 14 rebounds, 5 assists. He even hit basically the game winner, basically.
Do you think Charlotte is looking back where they turned down 3 draft picks from Boston for Kaminsky, and then they're looking how he went 4 for 14 and 5 for 13 in back-to-back games?
I forgot that happened. I assume the Charlotte's GM has not forgot that happened and wakes up screaming ever since. They turned down 3 draft picks for Frank Kaminsky.
Yeah.
Frank the Tank.
Yeah.
Wow. Even if they were all second round picks, and I know they weren't, that wouldn't be a bad trade.
I think at least 2 of them were first rounders.
Wow. Anyway, at least we haven't done anything that stupid. I mean, we have.
We have. I mean,
I was listening to something on I forget where it was, but something maybe ESPN Radio, or I listen to a lot of Knicks shows, and they were talking about the last shot of the game, and the guy was defending Melo and saying, "Hey, like, because everyone, so Melo actually hit the game winner here, but for the most part, and by the way, we forgot to mention D Rose came up awesome in the Trailblazers game, but anyway, for the most part, end of game, last second shots." Basically, we give the ball to Melo, and he tries to take the most contested shot from the furthest distance away, always. And It's awful. And so everyone just says, hey, why can't he pass the ball or they run a play? And he's like, you don't understand. These games, like he was talking about the finals where Kyrie Irving hit that like contested 3 against Steph Curry, saying that's what it's like. When the game is on the line, the defenses are so tight, it's impossible. You know, Kyrie Irving didn't want to shoot that shot, but he had to because it was the defenses are stifling. And I'm like, I've watched the end of game situations. Most of the time, Melo just holds onto the ball. You could run a play. You could at least try running a play once in a while and prove us wrong.
Nope.
Instead of Melo just holding the ball every time.
Nope, disagree. Nobody has ever passed into a final play in an NBA game ever. So
I did see something, though, interesting, though. It was most go-ahead shots with 5 seconds less to go in the game since Melo's been in the league. Melo's number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Is that not shocking?
No. I mean, because he's also probably taken the most by infinity.
Every Knicks game. I mean, like, it's almost... I almost just assume the Knicks, if there's going to be a last-second shot with the game on the line, I pretty much assume Melo's going to miss the shot.
I mean, the other 4 guys might as well just sit down Indian style on the floor.
I like Melo. Now we're not killing Melo. By the way, we have been killing Noah, and a lot of times we kill players, they end up playing well thereafter. So Noah, please play well against Oklahoma. We need you against Oklahoma. We need you
against the next 60-some-odd games, actually.
Yeah, we need you actually in every game. If you want to take one game off for if you get like a rough cough, that's cool. But other than that, play. I mean, the dude hasn't played. He barely has played 30 minutes a game. I mean, no, I'm sorry, not barely. He's played 30 minutes like twice this season. It is. I got to pull this up. I got to pull up Noah's game log. How many times do you think he's played 30 minutes this season?
2. It can't be more than 2. If it's more than 2.
The Knicks have played 16 games so far this season. It's more than 2. It's 3. He played 30. He played 31 minutes opening night, and then he played 35 minutes against Chicago in Game 3, and then on the 12th he played 33 against Toronto, and that's it.
So in the last 13 games, he's played over 30 minutes once.
Yes, that's correct. Actually, that's quite good math. You subtraction whore.
I like how you had to verify that.
Oh my! So I'm worried about Noah. I guess I'm worried about Noah. So you want to talk about the Charlotte loss? I'll tell you something now. We talk about the show. We say we are not NBA experts. We are not even. We're just fans.
This is going to come as a shock to some listeners.
Some listeners, we barely have any knowledge about anything, much less the Knicks. But I would say my years of wisdom has learned. If you go down by 21 points in the first quarter, it's hard to win that game.
Yes.
I'm going to say that and gravity are probably the two things I'm pretty sure about in life. How do you go down by 21 points in the first quarter?
I don't know. It's unbelievable.
So my only theory is the night before against Charlotte, the game time was 7:30, and this night the game time was 7. And so then maybe the Knicks got the game started at 7:30 because they didn't start playing until 7:30.
No, they definitely did not. I noticed this doesn't seem to happen often, but I noticed that Porzingis was getting exposed a lot in the fourth quarter on defense. And my question to you is, do you think that was fatigue, or is that just learning curves at an inopportune time?
I think both. He definitely looked fatigued. His shot looked off by the fourth quarter. So maybe his legs weren't perfectly under him, especially because the night before he played like 40 minutes and it was a pretty rough game, and they're traveling.
Yeah,
so
he seemed to beat slow a number of times near the end.
I think back-to-backs are always tough, especially if the night before is a longer game, or like a bigger minute game. I know Charlotte played back-to-back also, but it's a little easier when the back-to-back occurs like in your the second game's a home game for you.
Well, that, and if you have a more experienced bench.
I mean, for the most part, on all these, when you do like this kind of like home so like splits, usually the home team wins both games.
Right.
But the Knicks, here's the thing: like you're still like excited about what the Knicks did because the Knicks showed they could compete. Like most of the time in the past couple of seasons, down by 20 in the first quarter, they probably lose the game by 60, or at best lose the game by like 15. They don't make it a competitive game. Here they made it a competitive game. So
well, especially since Charlotte is a decent team.
Yeah.
So it's harder to come back against decent teams. Like Cleveland today was down by like 15 against Philly. But you knew all along they were going to come back and win that. That's different than coming back against a good team.
Yeah. So here's a question. Knicks. Why? So I looked at the lineups for the Knicks, and one lineup's been used far more than any other lineup. And I'm pretty sure you can guess it's the starting lineup. It's not even like close.
Even with Noah playing those minutes?
Yeah, actually, even with Noah playing those minutes, it's actually the total number of minutes. I had the total earlier. Either way, that lineup is by far the most used lineup the Knicks have. I guess they have average here now. This lineup averages 13.4 minutes a game versus the next closest lineup is 7 minutes a game.
Oh,
so
wow. Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's the most used lineup.
Is that normal? I feel like 13 minutes a game is not a lot for your
five starters playing together.
Yeah.
I mean, I could look at another team, but that would take research. Do you want me to do research, Jay?
No.
Let's look at what team would you say would have the most consistency in their starting lineup? So just pick one, not the most, but pick one that's up there. Cleveland probably.
Golden State.
Okay, I'm going to go Cleveland.
Because Golden State's bench is a lot thinner this year, so I feel like they're going to play their starters more.
Okay, Cleveland, their starters, 16.6 minutes a game.
Okay, so it's not that far off.
But they're second. They're if you switch out what is it? You switch out J.R. Smith with Richard Jefferson, that lineup is 16.3 minutes. So the stars are mostly playing together, but there's a little bit of a switch there. And let's go to Golden State just to make this fair. You're right. Golden State does do a lot of this. And if I could do out the alphabet, I can figure out the Western Conference. Here we go. This is all from NBA.com if people want to know where I'm getting this from. So 13.6.
Okay.
And they have another very similar lineup that's 12.0. The only big difference is they switch. Oh, actually, Kevin Looney's been playing that much.
Maybe because they're just blowing teams out.
Yeah, actually, you switch Kevin Looney out, and the lineup with Draymond Green actually plays less than the lineup with Kevin Looney.
Yeah, I mean, they're outscoring teams by 13 a game. So
let's say a team that I feel like would probably have a worse lineup or worse number, or like the least togetherness would be the Sixers, because the Sixers, like, Embiid's not playing every game. Let's see what the Sixers are like here. And I'm not even bashing the Sixers here, but 9.8. Their best lineup is their most used lineup is 9.8 minutes a game.
trust the process.
Anyway, so where I was going with this was not even the that was a good point about like the minutes, but going back to it. So the Knicks starting lineup, or their main lineup, averages a point. And where the hell? Okay, here it is. Okay, it's a net negative 6.2. Oh, you know what? Here's this is I found the total minutes. So the Knicks have used this lineup 188 minutes, versus the next most used lineup is 38 minutes. That's a big difference, actually. Why is this starting lineup? Why is this starting lineup such a negative?
No, isn't it?
By the way, can you guess? See if you can guess the most used lineup by the Knicks So the next most used lineup for the Knicks is a negative 20, and then you switch out Noah for Kyle O'Quinn. It goes from a negative 6.2 to a negative 20.
Oh no!
But that's only 38 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
The third most used lineup for the Knicks is 23 minutes, and it's a plus 32. And that lineup is that lineup's Melo, Holiday, Noah, Porzingis, Rose.
Mm-hmm.
What I've noticed, this part going back to the Charlotte game, when you just have the starters in, the Knicks come out flat a lot, because they came out just as flat in the first Charlotte game. They started the second half off really flat. They started losing. They were down by like 15, and the Knicks came back and won the game. But for some reason, when the five stars are together, they're just flat together. I don't understand.
Yeah,
like once you start putting the bench guys in, then like it's something that the team ignites. You put one bench guy in, suddenly they play a lot better. So what's wrong with the starting lineup?
Like I said, I think Noah's not playing good at either end of the court.
You think it's just that? But I mean, like it. But when you watch them, like everyone looks flat. Courtney Lee looks flat. The Rose looks flat. Melo looks flat. I feel like this lineup also has a lot of like when Noah on offense doesn't really occupy any really good space. Either he stands by the top of the arc to pass the ball, where no one needs to guard him, so there's an extra guy that can roam free to guard someone else, or he's down low, but he's down low. Melo's posting up, and then Porzingis is posting up. Too many guys. The spacing for this lineup somehow doesn't work.
Yeah.
And I think this lineup should work better, and I know the Knicks need to work on it, I guess. I feel like you need. Here's what I would do. My idea is that Melo. Anyone wants to post up, you post up for like 2 seconds. If you don't get the ball, you run out. You run out of the center. Don't stay there and stand there. Like Melo will go and post up and wait there for 20 seconds till the ball comes to him.
Right.
And Porzingis sometimes will do that also. Like I feel like you go in, post, look for an opening. If no one passes, you just move out and stand by the 3-point line.
Yeah, Strive was just saying there's less movement with Noah. Wouldn't you think there would be more movement, considering like the reason they got him is that he's a passing big man? But it does seem like the offense is a little more stagnant.
But I would say the third most used lineup, the one that was really positive, also has Noah, just to point out.
Mm-hmm.
But that lineup, I guess, I don't know why. And again, these are smaller samples because those lineups haven't been used that much. Either way, the starting lineup looks pretty stagnant. That has been 188 minutes and does not look that good.
Who would have thought that the bench lineups are the ones that would get the Knicks wins? Like we thought the starters were going to have to build up a 20-point lead to withstand our crappy bench, and it's almost been the opposite.
I mean, all bench lineups don't work either, but like I feel like when you mix them in, I feel like for instance with talking about Hernan Gomez, on offense, you get him the ball, he's going to score, Noah, you get him the ball, he's going to pass the ball, which either means he gives up, he doesn't take an open look below the basket, which screws your team, or he makes a nice pass, but like he doesn't need to really be guarded because they know he's not shooting.
You know, in all honesty, if that's the case, they need to change the starting lineup.
I feel like you should be able to get the starting lineup. I feel like it's too early to change the starting lineup, but you should be able to get the starting lineup. You got to figure out what's wrong with it.
Right.
I mean, if you look at also it's Noah's stats, though, just in fairness, and again, I don't know how much to read into like all these stats, but his stats actually are pretty good on the season as far as like the plus minus with him on the court, off the court.
Mm-hmm.
The advanced stats, what is it? Oh, he's 109 versus 105. He's a +4 when he's on the court, which isn't amazing, but like it's still like.
Yeah, it's better than I thought it would be.
I feel like part of the problem is not that it's just that he can't get on the court. I mean, he doesn't play well enough that they want to use him in bigger minutes in the fourth quarter.
Well, the fact that they almost don't play him at all in the fourth quarter is kind of disturbing.
Yes. Yes, it is.
I have a fantasy basketball question for you.
Tell me your fantasy.
I have Channing Frye on my team.
Yeah.
He lost both of his parents this month.
Holy really?
Yeah.
So anyway, enough about his tragedy. Should I drop him?
Yeah, that's.
Did you really want to ask that on the podcast?
Maybe I should have left that one for offline. But
wow, great question. I had some other questions for you, some bigger overall questions. Okay, I did the Noah question. Okay, so the Kuz and Billy signings. Why are they working out so well? And how much credit should not how much credit? I mean, like, should we be lauding Phil for finding these guys at the bench?
Yeah, I mean, he gets some credit for that. I think Hernan Gomez plays well because he already has years of experience playing with Porzingis, so they already have good chemistry there.
But he also plays well with other people, and he actually plays well with anyone that gets him the ball.
That's true. I mean, he's a good offensive player.
He's not that great on defense yet. He definitely needs work on the pick and roll.
He needs a lot of work, yeah. But,
so does everyone in the Knicks, so.
Yeah.
By the way, the triangle, do you think the triangle is less of an issue because the Knicks just don't play it that much anymore?
Yeah.
I actually...
Not a bad thing.
I have been seeing a lot more pick and roll. I haven't been seeing as much triangle. I hope in practice they're not still working on the triangle. Or they're working on it sporadically, but concentrating much more on the pick and roll.
Well, I hope they're at least practicing defense against something else.
Yes, that would be really nice. But you have to say, with the Knicks having beyond the fact they didn't have a lot of fun, not a lot of room after they blew like their load on Noah, and they also like took on Derrick Rose's contract, so they didn't have a lot of draft picks. So they found Hernan Gomez in the second round. Looks like he could be a solid contributor. And Kuz, they got on a pretty cheap deal for the next 3 years.
Yeah.
Do you think Kuz is better than your favorite person in the world, Lance Thomas?
Yeah. I forgot Lance Thomas was even on the team.
He's barely, because he can barely walk. I like Holiday a lot also. I have to say, like, not like the bench is amazing, but the bench is a lot better than I expected.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to quickly say, go through the guys that are actually playing and just say, what do you want to see more from them? Just one thing you want to see a little more from them, being a little more specific than just say, play defense.
Okay.
Porzingis.
I would say he's doing a lot of good things right now. I would say rotations. I feel like he's a little slow, whereas a lot of times he's afraid to leave a guy that's closer to the net to go out to the three-point line. And it's not even a lazy thing. It's more that I don't think he trusts other players on his team to pick up his guy.
Yeah, that's fair.
Which leads to some open threes.
I want to say also I would like to see a little more less gang fit. Like, he's gotten some cheap fouls recently. Some deserved and some not deserved. But I want to see some more blocks from him. He can be a force on defense. By the way, I was looking back at Patrick Ewing's stats, and I forgot just how many blocks he used to get. Like,
yeah.
he was obviously he was a beast on defense. But I would like Porzingis is 7'3", and he changes guys' shots. I'd like to see him get at least another block a game.
Mm-hmm.
And he was doing that last year, so I don't see why he should not be doing that. And maybe he's being a little more like reticent on defense this year, but I want to see a little more rim protection.
Yeah.
Melo?
I would like to see him fight through screens rather than just give up on his guy.
I'd like to see him when he gets the ball down low. Remember, he has teammates.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see him a little more involved in the pick and roll. I feel like he doesn't really get involved in the pick and roll. I feel like it would be a weapon getting him more involved in the pick and roll, getting him some easier shots and getting some teammates some easier shots.
Mm-hmm.
Because do you really see him? How much do you see Melo in the pick and roll?
Hardly ever, really.
Yeah, I've just noticed. I feel like he's more about posting up, and I feel like getting Melo the ball while he's moving would be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Kyla O'Quinn.
Kyla O'Quinn, I would like to see maybe better shot selection.
I was going to say he should make it with Noah so he can catch the flu.
I think he thinks he's a way better shooter than he is.
I was just like smarter. I would like him to stop trying to like thread the needle with passes.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of things. Noah,
I'd like to see him
get on the court.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see him move the ball better. I'd like to see him.
At times, his passing has been really good. I would say I'd like to see him look for his shot a little more around the rim.
Only around the rim.
Obviously only around the rim. But I feel like if he can't score around the rim, it really hurts if your center can't. If you can't get the ball to your center and have him score, it really hurts you.
Yeah.
Also, I'd like to see his defense actually be as advertised. D Rose. Who's played pretty well lately.
Yeah, I know. I don't really have many complaints about D Rose lately.
His defense has actually been less than horrible.
Yeah, and that's a plus because I was expecting it to be the worst. So less than horrible is nice.
His shooting is better than last year.
Mm-hmm.
He's not so great from three. I would say I still feel like too many situations where he kind of puts his head down and just drives without looking for teammates.
Mm-hmm.
I want his assist totals to go up. I think Jennings still has more assists per game than Rose does, which is not good.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd like him to look a little more for teammates. There was like a play the other night where he drove to the basket and just found Porzingis, who like dunked it pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like he could do that a little more, and it'd be great.
Yeah.
Lee,
just a little more consistency. Some games he looks amazing. Some games he I don't know. His shots just not there.
His numbers are down this year. He's having a pretty mediocre year for Courtney Lee.
Mm-hmm.
He's usually a better shooter. Kuz.
I mean, him. I would say. I'm going to say defense because his offense seems pretty good.
Same with Hernan Gomez. Defense, pick and roll especially. Jennings.
He was on fire last game, but overall his 3-point shot has not looked good. I'd like to see him practice that a little more.
I think he needs to look for his shot a little more. He's been great about passing, but he has to look for his shot. There has to be a little bit of a balance. You have to look for your shot a little bit just to keep the other team honest, so you can get the other teammates involved. And Holiday, the last guy.
I mean he's scored under 10 points every game except for 2.
And Holiday, last guy.
Holiday, maybe a little bit more ball movement.
Yeah, I like what I've seen from him. I want to see more consistency, also. I guess
he's quickly becoming one of my favorite players on the team, though.
By the way, this is also I think I wanted to point out, not necessarily we need to discuss, but when the Knicks were 54, I talked about it in the preseason, or during the summer, when the Knicks won 54 games, what did they do well? They played 2-point guard lineups, a lot of small ball, shot a lot of threes, and then Melo a lot at the 4. And what have they been doing a lot this year?
Pretty much all that.
A lot more small ball. Melo's been playing the 4 a lot more. 2-point guard lineups. Not a ton of threes, but more threes than they did, I think, last year.
Yeah, I noticed when they did Melo at the 4 and Porzingis at the 5, they had a furious comeback against Charlotte.
Yeah, that was a nice lineup. I like what I'm seeing from Hornacek. And now I want to talk about before we get to the questions, do you have anything else you want to talk about?
No.
Also, there was a rumor report from CBS Sports / we're just making this shit up right now just to like try to get the hits, clicks. Phil Jackson's future with the Knicks is fluid, and the Lakers are lurking.
Jesus, that's been going on since like the day the ink dried on his contract.
Oh my god! And the article starts off with, "Here's a story that refuses to go away." It might as well. The next sentence might as well. It refuses to go away because we need stuff to print.
Right.
But anyway, so here's one thing I want to talk about just outside of the Knicks. Two things. Well, three things actually. Well, Westbrook, Harden, and the Lakers. The Lakers. So this is briefly on the Lakers. I saw this stat on Twitter yesterday about the Lakers, where they were on every category versus where they are under Luke Walton. Last year, 30th. This year, they're 4th. Field goal percentage, last year they were 30th. This year they're 4th. 3-point percentage, last year they were 30th. This year they're 5th. Assists, last year they were 30th. This year they're 12th. Fast break points, last year they were 18th. This year they were 5th. Paint points, 26th. 10th. Points off turnovers, 28th, 6th. Why are the Lakers? I mean, the record stands at only like I think 8 and 8 or 8 or 9. But why are Lakers so much better in like every category this year? Is Luke Walton this amazing of a coach?
Yeah, because I mean, Ingram is not played good at all, so you can't say it was because of their draft pick this year.
Right. And Nick, from my understanding, Nick, I haven't watched the Lakers too much this year, but apparently everyone's saying that Nick Young is playing a lot better this year. And there's no reason that Nick Young should be playing so much better.
Yeah, it's not like it's his second or third year in the league.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Walton might just be an amazing coach.
Yeah. I mean, right now, also like their team leader in points is Lou Williams at 16 points a game. It's not like they're dominating. Julius Randle has 8 rebounds a game. But if you look at the and not that PER is that big of a deal, but like half the team is above 15 in PER. And they got Russell's playing a lot better this year. 16 points a game. Clarkson's averaging 15. I mean, are they? And the records are pretty similar, so it's not like they're really that much better than the Knicks. But why are they so like the Knicks? I think if you look at all those categories, Knicks are probably pretty bad at all those categories.
Right.
I don't know.
Well,
But anyway.
Fast break, they have an entirely young team, so you'd expect them to be better than the Knicks there.
Yeah. So the other thing I want to talk about was Westbrook and Harden. How absurd of seasons are they having individually?
Yeah, I mean, in fantasy, I was like, I'm not going to pay $80 for Westbrook, and now I'm thinking that would have been actually a deal.
I saw something, I think it was on Twitter yesterday or this morning, that they said Westbrook has 7 triple-doubles this year. Harden has 4. The rest of the NBA has 4.
I mean, both of them are like borderline averaging a triple-double for the season.
Harden is averaging 12.5 assists a game. How is that even – how absurd is that?
That's absolute insanity.
I know D'Antoni's offense moves a little faster, but it's not like the Houston was like a very like slow offense to begin with before he got here. I almost feel like he's gaming the system somehow, and I don't really know what he's doing.
Right.
Like the assists don't count when they're coming from a Harden because something he's doing that makes them. It doesn't even make sense. And Westbrook has been absurd, and they're both pretty efficient also this year.
Westbrook must be so mad because they're not even getting a lot of wins.
No. I mean, the Houston, they're both about the same record. We're playing them next week, so we'll see them in person. You want to talk about next week? I'm just shocked how good they both have been. Yeah. Anything you want to add about them?
No. It's just that they're going to be fun teams to watch this year.
Okay, so what do we got coming up next week before we do the questions?
We got Oklahoma City and then 2 against Minnesota.
Okay, so OKC, that's a tough one. Westbrook there's a decent chance he'll get. I mean, I know we did a decent chance against Lillard, but do you think it's a prayer we hold down Westbrook?
No.
How do you beat this team?
You got to hold down everyone else because Westbrook is going to get a triple-double.
So if Westbrook gets gets 35, 40 against us. We also have to make sure it's an inefficient 40.
Right.
That's what it comes down to. Like, he's going to keep shooting, so you just get him to keep shooting. But like, if he shoots like 12 for like 30, that's fine.
Yeah.
If he shoots 20 for 30, we're kind of screwed. He's going to get to the basket. I think the big key is shutting down the big guys on the team. What's their names?
Adams and Cantor.
Yeah, keeping them off, keeping them. And I think the problem there is that those guys will be very good at. Those guys will give Porzingis a lot of problems.
Yeah, those are really like they're just brutes. They could bully Porzingis. So that's going to be a game where it would be nice if we had a big defensive-minded center capable of playing big minutes.
Did we sign one in the offseason for $72 million? Have we been trashing him all show to such an extent that he should show us tomorrow night?
I would think so. The crazy thing is the last two games I haven't been able to start watching until the second quarter, and Noah plays 90% of his minutes in the first quarter. I haven't even seen him in like a week.
Oh my God. I'm gonna say the Knicks surprise us all because Oklahoma hasn't been that amazing. Even though Westbrook's been amazing, I say we shocked the world. We beat Oklahoma, and I don't know why that's shocking the world, but and then we split with Minnesota because I think the back-to-backs are pretty tough to sweep.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to Towns Porzingis.
Yeah.
I would say 2-1 sounds right.
Is OKC on the road or at home?
OKC is crap. I don't know.
I thought you were staring at this.
I was. I closed it out after we did our predictions.
Oh, you're really. God damn it.
OKC is at home.
Okay, we should win that then. We should be able to beat OKC, and I would say on the road. I feel like I don't know. By the way, why are the Knicks so much better on the road at home versus on the road so far? Is it a bit of just like the road games were more early in the season, and now we're coming together, and the home games are more recent?
I think when you have a team that's kind of it hasn't fully gelled yet, they kind of rally around the home crowd.
Yeah, that's true. I think there's something to that. I definitely agree with that. Okay, so what's your prediction? I said 2-1 with a split with Minnesota.
I'm going to go with 2-1 as well.
How are we getting the 2-1, Jay?
I'm going to say lose to Oklahoma City and sweep Minnesota.
Okay, I'd be fine with that. That'd be cool.
Change it up from what you said.
Porzingis Town should be an interesting matchup. Okay, questions?
Yes. Anthony writes, after a 6-game winning streak at the Garden...
Are there any emails?
Yes, we have some emails too.
Do you want us doing that order, or are you just gonna just go from site to site?
Okay, if you want me to do the emails first. NY Knicks podcast.
Don't you always do the emails first?
Well, usually, but I...
Just admit you forgot about the emails.
Okay, fine. NY Knicks podcast @gmail.com. This is from Stefan, as Mark would call him. Marc and Jay, could this win be better than the last against Atlanta? This is the Trailblazers email.
Okay.
Could this win be better than the last against Atlanta? The Knicks beat their Achilles heel NBA team, marginally good team with 2 exceptional point guards. Hard not to feel good. So he gave us a positive and negative. Positive, Rose stepped up and finished at the end when Melo couldn't buy a basket. Jennings had 11 assists, 4 points in 20 minutes. Those assists might have well been Jennings' buckets because they wouldn't have happened without him. Kuz and Holiday officially need to require Lance Thomas to stay in his fancy suit on the sideline indefinitely. Kuz played clutch, clearly can shoot better than Thomas as Melo's backup, and drove to the basket majestically. One more time than Lance Thomas has this entire season, which would be 0 in about 1/5 of the total minutes they both played. I don't think he's going to get worse if we give him more minutes. And the last one, KP is just the best thing since sliced bread. He must be infused with titanium because he doesn't seem to be injury prone in addition to how mobile he is next to a similar sized player.
Thanks for jinxing him. Really appreciate that.
And negatives. Overly critical, perhaps, but just mellow. He looks like a selfish asshole the last 10 minutes of the game. Looks like his Alzheimer's is kicking in, where he thinks he's the only person on this team that can score, but in reality, it looks like when the game is on the line, Rose and KP consistently get better looks at the basket and in way better position. His redemption did follow with some excellent defensive effort and a game-winning offensive board swarmed by Blazers. And he asked if we have any different takeaways from that game.
I think those are pretty solid takeaways.
Yeah, I think we gave our
already
thoughts
covered
earlier
stuff
on the show. Yeah. So thank you, Stefan. That game we were talking about, that mobile app, it is live, but it is only right now for NFL and MLS. NBA is coming in about a week. So
I thought you were going to say NBA is coming next season. We've been promoting it for no apparent reason.
Firefan.com/NY Knicks pod. And that'll be your download code. And when NBA is active, you can play against us. It's getting close, folks.
It's really close. I know you're on the edge of your seat, just waited in bated breath. Go on.
Nick writes, this is after the second Hornets game. I went to the game in North Carolina. Great game, by the way, even in a losing effort. I saw Noah out on the court shooting free throws 1 hour before the game started. I really feel Noah should retire. The reason is he looks done and he isn't doing what he was brought here for, which is to be the energy guy. Also, KP looked exhausted.
I don't think you give $72 million for the energy guy. You want $72 million for your defensive force.
Yeah, exactly. This is not good. Also, KP looked exhausted and he got taken advantage of this game. I saw great defense from the team for the last 3 quarters, the quarters that Noah didn't play in. I feel that our guards looked good on defense. They took advantage of the smaller guards. Kurt Rambis is actually having an effect. Lastly, the leader of this team is Brandon Jennings. When he's on the court, he's organizing the offense and defense, and also he raises the bar of everyone, keeping guys accountable. Just wish we could put a little of that into Melo and Rose. This was my view of the game in person. I don't know how it was on TV.
Yeah, I think those are all pretty valid things he said. Jennings does a good job of really getting the team going, and I think that's probably also partly why the Rose-Jennings lineups works together, because Rose can a lot of times be more of a passive, not a passive, just more. He just cannot be as he's not the energy guy he needs to be sometimes, and Jennings can kind of get him going, or get the team going when they're together. Yeah, I don't know the Noah signing. Here's a question. So, do you think the Knicks had to trade Robin Lopez to get Derrick Rose?
No.
Yeah, I feel like the Knicks did not have to actually. The Knicks could have matched. The Knicks didn't need to match contracts. I don't think it would I don't think the Bulls would have said, "Wait, you're not going to give us we're not going to give us
Robin.
Robin. You're not going to give us Robin? Oh, okay, fine. With the guy we're dying to get offload, we'll call the other team that really wants them. You're the Knicks. The team that plays in MSG is going to call us back. Where else were they going to get rid of him to?
Right.
They were trying to get rid of him. I mean, just like the Melo trade, we had all the power in this trade, yet we pretended we didn't.
Yeah. I agree with that.
And so, but even with that, let's say you got rid of Robin Lopez, which we did.
Yep.
What were the alternatives besides giving a ludicrous contract to Noah? What were the center alternatives? And remember, we're trying to win a title this year.
Okay, so you're not saying tanking in alternatives.
What was the Noah? You traded for Rose. You're obviously trying to win some games this year.
Yeah.
What were the alternatives?
Well, I mean, one alternative is to just go young with Quinn, Hernan Gomez, and Porzingis.
Right, but you're pretty weak at center right there. It's hard to start the year with going Hernan Gomez is going to be our starting center, and we just trade for Derrick Rose.
Right. I mean, the other one is to try and get a marginal center like a Pachulia.
I was just going to say him also.
Yeah, I mean, that guy would have been pretty good for the team.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have done a patchwork team and not grossly overpaid. Get Pachulia, do it. Golden State, they got Pachulia and McGee. I mean, would we be any worse off with those two guys?
Okay, so you're saying basically we were pretty much like we had to give the $72 million to Noah.
I mean, there was so many like marginal centers that moved around that we could have gotten.
If we gave him a 1-year, $20 million deal to Noah, would you be that upset this year?
No, because then you're in the gamble thing with Rose and Noah. They're both gambles, and if they work out, then great. But the 4-year is insane, considering that Noah had the 2 worst years of his career coming into this.
Yeah, but it's hard to read into. You can't always read into past performance. Just because he was terrible the last 2 years.
Yeah, most guys over 30 completely recover from that. Especially
but everyone
centers.
said he was injured, and that was the reason. And Chicago seemed like they had no interest in keeping him.
Injury-prone centers usually heal up at the age of 31.
Yeah. Also, based on that, the Knicks have also put a lot of money into signing Greg Oden. He'll be healthy soon. I can't believe we have no. Is there any chance the collective bargaining agreement is going to have a
amnesty?
Amnesty, and are they gonna call it the Noah clause?
Well, I mean, are we going to max out Rose and then we'll have to make a decision?
I mean, that's the other thing I was going to ask you. Do you think there's a chance Rose will not be as injury prone? Because the one thing I'd say about it is one of the things everyone said about Rose was how he was so in control but out of control when he was like driving to the basket, where he'd finish that like he put such pressure when he's landing on his legs that people said it was bound to happen. But now he seems a little more in control when he's driving to the basket, where he doesn't really land as crazily, and he doesn't do it 40 times a game. Do you think maybe he'll be healthier?
It's possible. I mean, he's only 27 too, so.
I know it's a small sample size, but he hasn't had even like a lick of injury so far this year.
Right.
Might be healthier. We'll see. I mean, I feel like if he goes the entire season without being injured, I'll feel okay about re-signing him, I think.
Yeah. Because then you have basically 2 seasons in a row.
Yeah, 2 seasons in a row is a pretty good sample of not being injured.
Yeah.
Okay, more questions and more emails?
No, we've been getting really good game recaps from Eric on our website, so you should check those out after every game. Eric has done 15 game recaps. So
he's done 15 game recaps?
I think so.
Wow, Eric, You're amazing. I don't actually think you're right, also, because that would be 15. That's the Knicks have only played 16 games.
Yeah, he's done.
He's starting game 2.
I'm not sure. He's done a lot, and they've all been good. So the New York Knicks podcast.com.
Yeah, go to the website. He's actually doing really good. It's as good as anything you'll see on ESPN.
Yes,
and I think that's fair. I'm not even dissing. I think he's doing a really good job. That's
right, and we don't charge for our recaps.
It's not insider information on our website. You don't have to pay extra.
Right. So thank you, Eric. And while you're on the New York Knicks podcast.com, why not get a Knicks podcast shirt? Help support the show.
Or why not just go, hey, while I'm on the web, I can go to iTunes and write a review, a 5-star review.
If you want to pull that up, we got a new one. Anthony writes on Twitter. We are NY Knicks Podcast on Twitter. After a 6-game winning streak at the Garden and a 4-game winning streak, how do you feel about this team? Is this team as good as the last 8 games or as bad as the first 8? Are we a 500 team? Personally, I don't think so. Look like a 45-win team.
Yeah, I'd say that. I mean, we've already voiced that we're pretty excited about the season. I'm pretty excited about the team. I got to say, I think this team has a lot of potential. I think it's a lot to build on. I don't think we're winning the title this year, but we should go to the playoffs this year and should be able to build on this for next year. We got a lot of young pieces. I'm feeling pretty good about our kind of rebuild.
I think 45 wins sounds about right.
Because you can see it. Like let's say Rose is healthy for the season, and we re-sign him, and Rose stays healthy.
Yep.
Then you have Rose is what you said, 27?
Yeah.
So he's got a couple good years ahead of him.
Mm-hmm.
Melo's not done yet. Porzingis will be getting better. Hernangomez is getting better. Kuz getting better. God forbid we keep these 2 draft picks we have this year. They'll probably be pretty good.
Jennings is still young.
Jennings will not be. Well, the problem is Jennings is also a 1-year deal. So probably Jennings or Rose, one of the guys will not be back next year.
Right.
But maybe we could draft a point guard and develop one.
I heard this is a very point guard deep draft class.
Yes, which people were talking about a lot when they thought we were tanking when the season started. Okay, I think I got the reviews. iTunes reviews. Giving thanks from Afferenci. Thankful for turkey legs. It's 5 stars. Thankful for turkey legs and this water cooler-esque Knicks podcast between friends with great radio personalities. Better than ESPN or sports radio commentary on air. Bravo, keep it up. Thank you. And then apple teeth, also 5 stars.
Oh, we got 2.
We got 2. November 21st and 24th. This is from Kids Meth Fee. This podcast is the go-to for any Knicks fan who wants funny and insightful commentary that takes away some of the pain and this franchise inflicts upon us. Did we read also the one from last week? The November 14th one?
I think so.
The Brutally Honest Knicks podcast, 5 stars from Anthony Jam. Honestly, I've been listening since episode 200 or so. This is simply the best Knicks or NBA podcast out there, where you can hear people like you talking about the players and the team you love like you do. I miss Woody and Fisher on the show. Hopefully they'll come back soon. Marc and Jay, you guys are the best. Robot Jay should be on every review of the games, by the way. I swear, guys, on my vacations, I'm going to New York, and I hope I can meet you. By the way, I'll buy one of the T-shirts. I swear. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys.
We got more questions on Twitter, so we got to actually move.
Yes. George writes, how do you guys feel about the fact that we have Noah for 312 games, excluding playoff games?
Okay, Next question. Do you feel like so we were pretty when you signed on Mari? I'm trying to think of the last terrible contract we had.
Bargnani.
You're gonna say Bargnani?
Yeah.
Well, we didn't have him. Well, what did we have him on though? Like a 2-year deal?
Yeah, but we traded 3 draft picks. Oh, you're just talking about not what we paid to get him, just like the contract itself?
Yeah. I was talking about guys we've actually signed, not like we didn't go out and sign Bargnani as a free agent. We actually pursued him with terrible.
Okay, yeah. So Amari would be the last one.
Yeah. I was just thinking about Amari when you signed him. You knew you overpaid, but you got some really good production from him initially, and then if there were issues thereafter, a lot of injury issues.
Who would have saw that coming?
How do you feel about that contract versus this contract? Do you feel like the Amari, and obviously you've seen Amari all the way through, Noah you've seen for 16 games. Do you predict the Amari contract or the Noah contract? They're both semi-similar numbers. Do you think which contract will be better?
This is like pick your poison, really.
I feel like Noah can be like the thing with Amari. I started getting frustrated and didn't even want him on the court at times, even though, and people killed me for that. But during the 54-win season, if people noticed when Amari played, the team got worse because they couldn't figure out how to whatever.
But that was already like 2 years into his injury proneness.
Yeah, I mean, at first, I loved when he was first here, even though I knew he was overpaid for. But Noah, you feel like he could contribute in a positive way if he could stay on the court.
I think Noah's going to be even worse.
But he could contribute in a positive way if he stays on the court. Like, he's passing, he could be pretty good.
Yeah, in theory, he could be good.
This has well, do you think maybe a positive would be is the Knicks, like, if you go to a Knicks game, they have a lot of different things. Like when there's a timeout and he goes to commercial, they have lots of different performances. Maybe the Knicks can save some money on their performances and just have Phil Jackson do pull-ups on Noah's arm during timeouts.
Okay, there's that. Nick writes, why will Derek Rose not pass the ball to KP, or am I imagining this?
It's happened, but not as much. I think Derrick Rose does too much of head down driving to the basket, not looking, just trying to like solely focus on scoring, and he needs to do a little more of like, hey, if you pass the ball to Porzingis, it might be a really easy basket.
Yeah, based on his assist numbers, I wouldn't say it's Porzingis per se. It's more just teammates.
Yeah.
Adam writes, should Phil just hire a hypnotist to trick the team into thinking that they're playing at MSG before every road game? I like that idea.
Yeah, I like that idea too.
Nicholas writes, then we'll just lose at home.
By the way, every time I listen to like ESPN radio or like some other Knicks source, a lot of people talk about Kyle O'Quinn as being a positive. Like He's been very healthy this year. He's been in great shape this year. He's been scoring well. Like, a lot of people think Kylo Quinn's been good. Why is that?
He's been pretty good the last, 5 games or so.
The other night against Charlotte, there was something like what was it? It was something like he was like a negative 17 in like 10 minutes. There's something ridiculous. Anyhow, he was okay in the last game.
Can we just not talk about the fact that he lost 10 pounds with professional trainers? So
Did you know Dwayne Wade can shoot the 3 now?
Oh God.
It's just like, hey, the storyline's over. Just stop saying it.
Right. Can you imagine if the network news just reported the same news story every day? Hey guys, today Trump's president.
They might be reporting that actually. The next 4 years or 8 years, they'll be like, Trump's president and this happened.
Nicholas writes, we need a backup 3 or small forward and for Noah to retire. I guess we're not the only ones on the Noah hate wagon.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are on there. The backup 3 isn't Holiday supposed to be the backup 3? And then, isn't between Holiday and Kuz, aren't they kind of the backup 3s?
Technically, Lance Thomas is supposed to be the backup 3, but
Lance Thomas can't walk, so he's probably not playing the rest of the season.
Do you really think he's out the rest of the season?
Yeah, I think he's out for the rest of the season. I think he's done. I think his career might be over, actually. Let's just see the Lance Thomas reports. They don't even talk about him being there's nowhere where they're like, Lance Thomas might be back soon.
Right.
Let's see what they're saying in the Lance Thomas. I'm taking Lance Thomas news. The only articles I can find are Lance Thomas has plantar fasciitis. If I had to,
that usually doesn't knock you out for a season.
By the way, if my job depended on me pronouncing what he actually has, I'd have no job.
Yeah, you'd be homeless.
He has it on both feet.
Oh,
that is pretty bad.
Yeah,
and he has
not good.
The bone bruises itself aren't the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
That's also probably explains why his play was so bad. And they're reporting every game he's doubtful for Friday's game, doubtful for Monday's game. He's doubtful for the season. This is a nagging. This ended Campy's career. Campy was 40, but it ended Campy's career.
Right.
You really think Lance Thomas is going to be back?
Yeah. I think he's going to miss a month.
Okay. Do you mean month in the Bible version where the world was created in 7 days, so a month's going to be a really long time?
Gucci Jean writes, likelihood of a Melo Rose KP All-Star appearance altogether.
I don't think Rose is making the All-Star team.
Yeah, I think there's too many point guards right now that are ahead of him. That would be awesome, but yeah, I just don't see it right now.
His numbers have to step up. He's got to get his numbers. He's been playing well. We're excited about how he's been playing, but his numbers have to step up if he wants to make the All-Star team. Maybe next year after they re-sign him, he'll be an All-Star.
The 4-year-old writes, the Knicks seem like a whole new team since that Hawks game. Thoughts?
Or I thought he was going to say the Wizards team.
Well, that was after they had the meeting after that, right?
Yeah, so we didn't talk about last show. I guess we should have, the team meeting. The Knicks had a team meeting with Phil Jackson, and Melo said that it wasn't that Phil Jackson said anything during the meeting. He actually listened, and he made a point about that, which I would think Phil would have been listening prior, but I guess I don't know. What do you think they said during the meeting that helped?
Hey guys, we should play really good basketball all 4 quarters and all 48 minutes of the game.
Hey Phil, when you randomly randomly drop hints to the news media about triangle, it doesn't help us. It's a distraction. And maybe stop emphasizing it. Let's just play the brand of basketball we want to play and try to win games.
Right. Maybe they were just talking about how much they're going to play the triangle and just winking to each other because Phil was there. Triangle is so good. We're just going to play nothing but that. Wink, wink.
Wow. A guy with 11 rings would probably just let his team. He would probably be so comfortable in his coaching manhood that he would just say, hey, if the team wants to play triangle, not play the triangle, we could win without it. I bet you're such a good coach you could win without the triangle.
Only a jerk would butt in.
I don't know what was said, but the fact that comment about him listening speaks a lot.
The 4-year-old writes, Cock was starting. Cock did good. More Cock? That's Kylo Quinn. Cock.
That's the greatest nickname. Can they start doing that at MSJ? And on top of that, if they start announcing it that way at MSJ, then I would be very happy with him shooting a 3-pointer, because then I would love to hear 3 points or cock.
I just once I want to hear
3-point.
once I just want to hear Clyde say cock block.
Yeah, I mean, he's looking. I feel like Kylo Quinn always looks good in spurts, but then does something stupid. Like he tends to foul a lot and make dumb passes. I don't think you ever. I think he's beyond correct. I think he's never going to be correct. I think just wait for him to do something stupid and take him out of the game.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's been getting actually a lot of blocks, which has been very impressive.
The 4-year-old writes, "Why did we have to pay Noah $72 million? That's more than all the money I have spent in my playset. Hashtag at least I'm not injured." That's from the 4-year-old.
In fairness, the Noah also had received a $71 million offer from no one, so the Knicks had to match that, beat that, because no one had give. I don't know why did was there, I remember seeing a report that the Wizards were going to give him a max deal. Do you remember that?
Yeah, but I think they were trolling us.
Like it was reported by the name on there was like, "Bye, I hate the Knicks."
Right.
I remember seeing that and thinking that was I really thought this was going to be a 1-year deal. Before, I mean, once the reports came out that it was going to be a 4-year deal, obviously I realized it would be a 4-year deal. But I really thought when the Knicks were talking about Noah, it was going to be a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
I mean, who signs a guy for 4 years, $72 million, coming off 2 of the worst seasons of his career? Not the 2 worst seasons of his career.
I don't know.
Do you think if they'd given a $72 million 4-year deal to Greg Oden, the deal would be any worse?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure. Because at least they would have said, like, "Oh, he's retired. We get the money back. We can use it on someone else." I'm going to say after, by the way, we've killed Noah enough during this episode that he's going to have some big games.
Yeah. And then we're going to go through all the I want to no apology stuff.
They're like, "You guys," and people will be like, "You overreacting." We're praising everyone on the team, really, and Noah's just kind of, this contract is baffling us. Go on.
That's it for Twitter.
Okay, Facebook. Have you guys forgiven Melo for sucker punching Marty Collins? And he attaches the video, which I had not seen the video in a while, and wow.
Never forget.
I'm gonna forgive Carmelo since he's been a Knick this long, but wow. If you, by the way, anyone who's listening should go type in Carmelo Anthony sucker punch and runs away for the Marty Collins punch, which is like, I mean, who gives a crap about Marty Collins? Also,
right.
If we were sucker punching a Knick you cared about, then it would probably be a little different. Emma writes, the Knicks have a chance to go above 500 today. This was obviously prior to the game. Let us know how you felt and what you expected before today's game, during, and after. Jay?
You know what? Before the game, I was very, very excited. I mean, if they went almost 2 perfect weeks in a row, that would I think I probably would have overreacted to this team for the next 2 weeks. During the game, I was back to, oh, here we go again. But then after the game, I felt pretty good because they came all the way back and they looked decent again in the third and fourth quarter. So I'm feeling pretty good about this team.
Yeah. I would say the biggest thing was, for me, was the during the game. I was thinking, at least early in the game, I was thinking, I wish the Knicks were as excited about the Knicks as I was. Yeah, I don't know how. Okay. Thomas writes, do you guys believe in Robert Randolph curse?
I'm starting to, yeah.
No, didn't the Knicks win? What's the Robert Randolph curse?
Friday night Knicks. The Knicks almost never win on Friday night.
But
isn't that it?
Yeah, but then they won on Friday night.
Yeah, I mean, They're not like over on Fridays, but
I thought everyone. Whatever. I thought they won that game, so I don't believe it anymore. The curse is over. Chicago has killed. The Chicago Cubs have killed all curses. Frank writes, where is Hernan Gomez on the depth chart at this point? He's got to be ahead of Koch, right? Do you think by the end of the season he could start ahead of Noah? Probably getting way ahead of myself, but aside from some rookie mistakes, he looks pretty good.
well, I mean, I think Koch is ahead just because when Noah's out, he starts.
Yeah, I mean, though I can see with Noah being out that Hernan Gomez getting some starts also.
I mean,
I don't.
I think they're almost even. If you look at their minute distribution, they're playing about the same minutes. Hernan Gomez might even be slightly ahead at this point.
Yeah, I would say so. And it seems like late in games they're going to Hernan Gomez more than going to Koch.
Yeah.
As far as Noah, I don't see them when Noah's healthy. I don't see them starting either of these guys over Noah.
Right.
Because that was part also. He had a huge issue with that in Chicago last year because they started wanting to put Noah on the bench, and Noah really didn't like that. But Noah also sucked last year, so I can understand Chicago wanting to put him on the bench. But do you think Noah would be okay with not starting anymore?
I think it depends if his play like this continues. I mean, at some point you got to have a dose of reality, and
I also don't see. I think Hornacek is not going to do this in a while. I think Hornacek is not going to do this. It's going to take a while before he does this because I think he's probably looking at this also like Noah has him completely healthy. He's coming back. It'll hurt the team more to put him on the bench and ruin his confidence or get him frustrated versus let's give him some starting, keep giving him starting minutes and see if he can break out of this funk.
right. Yeah, they're not going to rock the boat yet. But I mean, if we're 50 games into the season and this is still going on.
We really need Noah to play well to have a good season. So, yeah, I agree with that. If it's well into the season, they might change things, but it's way too early to take him out of the starting lineup. Daniel writes, thoughts on the quality of D Rose's jumper and the general attacking quality of the starting five. Once it goes a little bit wrong, it quickly turns into an ISO disaster or KP front on 3-point miss early in the possession.
I mean, Rose's shot has looked improved.
Yes. And getting to the basket, he's been pretty darn good. But
I've actually been super impressed so far with Rose.
Yeah, I think with Rose, I think we both have to admit Rose is looking a lot better than we expected when we got him.
Well, yeah, we thought this was going to be a little train wrecky.
Yeah, which he's been, I mean, obviously, maybe he'll get injured and who knows, but when he's been healthy, he's been looking pretty good. Yeah. The attacking quality of the starting five is not there.
No, it's not.
The pace of the team has not been very good. He's right. Like when something goes wrong, the team just kind of goes to disaster mode. But the thing is, at other times in games, I've seen the Knicks go back to the start. It was earlier in the season when I see them go back to the starting five, and the starting five would play really well. It just seems like they always come out flat to start a half or starting the game.
Yeah, it's very, very strange the way that works out.
Which almost makes you think they should try to mix the lineups up a little bit to start the game, but they probably won't do that.
This could be back to a chemistry thing too. We might not be even talking about this 20 games from now.
Yeah, I think this is a matter of guys wanting to go. It's too much ISO, but maybe that's going to work itself out as the guys learn to trust each other.
Yeah.
Daniel writes, how do you see Billy's role going forward? While he might not have the thrust and penetration of Koch, I think he'll get a lot. Those were in capital letters, by the way. I think he'll get a lot better as he acclimates to the league and stops the silly basket interference, stupid final play fouls, occasional brain farts. Looks like he might have a handy hook shot and mid-range jumper too. Let me ask you, the play he's referring to the foul at the end of the game, that was Kemba Walker's foul, send the game into overtime, basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Kemba Walker wasn't fouled.
Right.
You saw the play, right?
Yeah, I thought there was a couple very questionable calls that game.
I kind of hate when you get to the point where you're like, you kill a guy like Hernan Gomez for a dumb foul at the end of the game, but clearly anyone watching the replay knows he didn't foul, so you just kill him for being there when the ref called.
You should have known the ref was gonna call anything. You should have just been 5 feet away from him.
Yeah. Maybe before that play happened, you should have gotten 10 years of experience if the ref didn't call that on you. I don't know. But yeah, I think he's going to get. You have to think Herningham was how old is he? 21.
Yeah.
So he'll get back. I feel like if we keep him, which I hope we keep him, because I don't know the Knicks like just throw away guys at the toss of a hat. But if we keep him like a couple of years from now, these guys should be really good together.
I would think so. Yeah.
And especially he learns to play more pick and roll defense. Like, yeah, I am. Even later this season, he'll look better. So I'm very excited. Gillum writes, isn't kind of in some ways like where Hernan-Gomez is kind of what you expected from from Porzingis without the 3-point shooting, but Porzingis last year when he came in. Without the 3-point shooting, you kind of expected Porzingis to be bad on defense.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of expected him to be like hopefully good around the basket because he was kind of a center type like build 7-3.
Yeah, I guess so.
A little basically you expected maybe a little bit advanced on offense and a little bit behind on defense, and obviously Porzingis looked pretty good on defense too. But Gillum writes, a couple of weeks ago I asked who would you trade O'Quinn for, and your answer went between nothing and for a second-round pick. After stepping up in Noah's absence, do you still have the same opinion of him?
Yes.
Well, I also think, in fairness, if we trade O'Quinn now for, let's say, a second-round pick or nothing, we our depth at center just like disappears. Are you going to get big men that play Plumlee? We need guys that can play.
Right. I mean, he, like I said, the last week or so, he hasn't been bad. So I don't want him off the team as much as I did 2 weeks ago.
So Oklahoma calls or whoever calls and just says, I'll give you a second-round pick for O'Quinn right now. Would you do it?
No.
What if the second-round pick is like 30 through 40 pick?
No. I mean, even 30 through 40 almost never pans out. And like you said, what are we going to play Hernan-Gomez like 30 minutes a game?
Dallas calls, offer you the number 1 pick in the entire draft.
Okay, then they're lying.
The Golden State offers you Durant and Curry.
Nope, not for Cock.
I would say we kind of need to keep Cock on the team for the rest of the season, I feel like. But come the offseason, second-round draft pick, I'd be totally fine with getting rid of him.
Unless somebody gets bought out mid-season.
Or the alternative, if Noah actually starts looking good, then I'd be happy to trade O'Quinn anytime.
Right.
Gillum writes, will the refs have more respect for Willie? He's getting ridiculous calls after a ridiculous call against him.
I mean, it is pretty bad right now.
I hope Melo takes him aside and goes, you know what? When you get a bad call, you take the next play off and complain.
I wish the NBA wasn't like that, where, this guy's more experienced, he gets the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I wish it was. I just feel like it's so trigger happy to have calls.
Mm-hmm.
And I also don't understand. I never really understand. The thing that drives me crazy is like that play at the end of the game was basically at best Hernan-Gomez. It's like a touch foul, basically. I think what's his name? Kemba Walker kind of threw himself against Porzingis, but the contact was kind of incidental. It wasn't like a big contact.
Mm-hmm.
But like you see Melo all the time get like he gets serious contact and he doesn't get a foul call.
Yeah.
I wish it was just some consistency. Shouldn't Melo be going to the line 20 times a game?
Yeah, I mean, Melo complains a lot, but he's justified a lot of the time. He gets hacked so often and it doesn't if the same plays, LeBron would be going to the line.
I'm kind of fine also with Melo not going to the line in those plays if everyone else doesn't go to the line in those plays.
Yeah. Because like Harden and LeBron go to the line on the same exact play.
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay. Gillum writes, I'm a bit behind in the Brinks pod, so you may have said something about this, but how is Jay's studies going? Is he finished? I think you said something like when Jay was finished, you would go back to more than 1 episode per week. Wasn't that supposed to be last December? I don't remember correctly.
So The Brink of Sanity is our other podcast. You can find that on iTunes too. Just type in Brink of Sanity. It's a comedy podcast. And I didn't graduate grad school until this May, and then I had to start studying for the CPA. So It's going to be next season that we're going to do more episodes. We probably said last year that we are going to do more than one this year, not realizing that I was going to take the CPA.
CPA is a pretty intense exam to study for. There's 4 parts to it, I believe, and I'm very happy I'm not taking it because it sounds awful from hearing Jay take it. But anyway, so we may once in a while do an extra episode a week this season. I think we're also doing The Brink a little more often because we kind of enjoy that podcast too. So
yeah, like in prior seasons, we would do we would skip Brink for like months at a time, but we enjoy doing that one. So that's back to weekly as well.
So yeah, that's been weekly as well lately. At least it's been going that way. We'll try to do some more Knicks also, but at least it'll always be once a week, sometimes more. And when Jay's done with the CPA exam, then maybe we'll do it more often. I don't know. Gillum writes, was Endor on the bench in the Charlotte games? I can't find him in the box score. When will someone or him be cut to let Randall in? With Rose Jennings being more featured, we need another point guard, and he was a sure thing to make the final roster before getting injured.
I give it another 10 games.
I don't really know what Endor does well,
right,
or what he does. I do you think do you see any potential with him?
No, he's got to go.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to take a quick look. Here's the last question. I'm just going to take a quick look to see what on the Westchester Knicks. What I haven't checked in a little while. We'll see what our man Randall's been doing. Gillum writes, have you seen Holiday is all over the better lineups? Is he bigger surprise than Willie? Could he play more ahead of Lee?
Lee plays very good defense too. I don't see him playing ahead of Lee.
But forgetting that, is he a big? I don't think he's going to play ahead of Lee. But are you pretty surprised about how well he's been playing?
Yeah. I've been pleasantly surprised by a lot of guys on this team.
Yeah. Last two Westchester Knicks games. Just for who's Wayne Selden?
I don't know. I mean, Holiday was a throw-in for the trade, and he's pretty much locked up at least 15 minutes a night now.
I don't think he was a throw-in. I think Phil said he liked him to begin with.
Yeah, but he wasn't even playing.
Okay. Holiday was probably not like it wasn't like if the Bulls didn't give us Holiday, the trade was still on. Just like if we didn't give them Lopez, the trade was probably still on.
Yeah.
Anyway, so last 2 games for Chase on Randall. The other night he had 23 points with 2 assists and 4 rebounds. It's pretty darn good. And on 9 for 22, not the most efficient shooting, but I still like him.
Mm-hmm.
And then in another victory, he had 16 points with 1 assist. Doesn't seem like he's playing point guard. He's not getting, and he's 5 for 14 shooting. So I guess he hasn't been that great the last 2 games.
Yeah,
not that it means anything.
He needs some more. He needs some more work.
But he's not like, we need to get him here right now because he's burning up the D League with inefficient scoring.
Mm-hmm.
Just checking what he's been doing. I am not watching any of the games. If anyone's actually watching the Westchester games and wants to gives a little write up on who's playing well, that'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But that's the last 2 games of the D League. What did we learn today, Jay?
We learned that we strung together 2 straight weeks of positivity, I think. You know what we did? We shit on Lopez, but Noah, but I think for the most part, we were positive.
Yeah, I was going to say Noah disagrees about our positivity. Yeah, we're mostly positive. I mean, like, how can you not be positive? I am very, very excited about this 8-8 team. By the way, going ahead, forgetting after the Minnesota games, the schedule gets pretty not easy, but the schedule is not bad at all going forward for a while.
Yeah, I think Miami's after that.
Yeah, they got a bunch of teams. Let me pull up the schedule real quick, because you look past the. Okay, where is it? Okay, so after the Minnesota, then you got Sacramento, should be able to win. then Miami should be able to win. Cleveland's probably a loss, but then they got the Kings again. The Lakers are a reasonable matchup. The Suns, Golden State, obviously it's tough. But then the Nuggets, the Pacers, the Magic. It's not a bad December.
Yeah, not bad.
We should actually have a pretty, I would say there's a very good chance we're over 500 after December. I would be surprised we're not over 500 after December.
Yeah, and that would be a very, very good situation to be going into the new year in.
Yeah.
All right, so I want to thank everyone for listening. Thank you for the reviews and the questions and the feedback. So, yes, NY Knicks Podcast on Twitter. The New York Knicks Podcast.com is the website. nyknickspodcast@gmail.com is the email. Firefan.com/nyknickspod for that new game that's going to be coming out soon. And I guess that's it, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. If you are in another country and you write us a review on iTunes, we cannot see your review on iTunes because iTunes only lets us see the American edition. So just take a screenshot of that review and send it to us. That'd be awesome.
Yes.
And we'll read it on the air.
All right. So thanks for listening, and we will be back next week.
Goodbye, everybody. It's all over. Goodbye. This is the end. Say goodbye. You better go away. I'm gonna leave you. It's the end. Goodbye. Goodbye. Just leave me alone. Feels so good to say goodbye. I'm sick and tired and I'm saying goodbye. Goodbye, girl. Goodbye, 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 everybody.
And now, insurance-minded speeches from Geico.
It's a common expression, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. However, what if the horse's mouth is filled with useful insurance tools? This is the exact case with the Geico app. Yes, the app is free and therefore a gift horse. However, look inside the app and behold, emergency roadside assistance, digital ID cards, bill pay. Get the Geico app. Look it in the mouth, get amazing services. Thank you.